And now, what do people really think about these parents?
Okay. First myth.
Parents are ratchet.
Girl.
You know what I'm talking about. They got the bonnet. If you from Uptown Heights, you got that doobie with the pins, them chancletas.
Facts.
Coming in pajamas to pick up your kids in sub-zero
But your
weather.
nails are done.
Your clothes is out. You went to Jenny. You got the Cardi. And you up in here in my face talk about that math homework stupid, Miss Martinez.
And if you lucky, you might have a little bit of a monitor on your ankle for good measure. Welcome back to the Tea Lounge, where we are spilling the tea on urban education,
serving it from a teacher's perspective.
So, today we are going to continue with our segment, if you will, on talking about myths as we did relating to teachers, we did relating to students, and now we are going to talk about myths that are related to parents.
That's right, the Holy Trinity.
Yes.
Teachers, smack you, talk about them kids. And now, what do people really think about these parents?
Okay, first myth.
Parents are ratchet.
Girl.
You know what I'm talking about. They got the bonnet. If you from Uptown Heights, you got that doobie with the pins, them chancletas.
Facts.
Coming in pajamas to pick up your kids in sub-zero
But your
weather.
nails are done.
Your clothes is out. You went to Jenny. You got the Cardi. And you up in here in my face talk about that math homework stupid, Miss Martinez.
And if you lucky, you might have a little bit of a monitor on your ankle for good measure. Because you were here to bring your child to school talking about, so what happened was, Miss Martinez.
Right.
We were not able to do homework last night.
Because, you know, it was before 9 and I got to be in the house. His dad wasn't there yet. And you know my ankle beeps if I step out past 8 o'clock.
So, that's what we working with. And no.
Wrong. A lot of our families, a lot of our parents are hard-working parents, having, you know, 2-3 jobs, college-educated parents. I mean, we see the whole spectrum. Yes. So this idea that every kid that lives in a certain neighborhood or a certain area, their parents don't have jobs, their parents are ratchet, you know, uneducated, lazy, foul-mouthed, is not the case.
False.
And if you're looking into getting into a teacher program, or if you've already done one and you want to go to these specific types of schools and help up these populations that really need our help, take that out of your mindset. Don't go in there thinking that you're about to be with Bebe's kids. Because that couldn't be further from the truth. And when you walk in that door already having these negative connotations, doesn't matter where your heart is, that's going to inevitably affect everything you do and all the kids you're there to serve.
I think that's it. You hit it on the head right there.
Stop it. Everybody ain't ratchet. And you know what? Everybody's fun.
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, we all have a little ratchet in us. Let's not get it twisted.
You know, sometimes
you
get
excited, a couple of hand claps.
I clap. Sometimes, you know, I like my nails a little longer. It makes it feel good. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean I'm less educated.
Yes.
I care less.
Because you talk with your hands.
Or I'm going to be less involved.
Yes.
I'm just involved in more parts of it.
Okay. All right. So myth number 2. Many of our parents, they're just really clueless. Like, they have absolutely no idea what goes on.
Don't know what's going on. They're delusional. They don't even, like, have the slightest idea or...
Common Core who?
What? Standard? No. I'm standard.
What you mean?
About?
I didn't go to no college.
CGI? Are we talking about special effects?
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Stop it. This new math that you're teaching.
Borrowing, regrouping.
I don't got time for that.
What are you talking about?
Area models with multiplication. Relax.
Why can't you just carry the 1? Why you gotta talk about making a 10? What is that? You do too much.
And then on top of that, they don't care about figuring out what they do know. Like, it don't matter.
They're not reaching out to you. They're not calling you. They're not coming in for help. They don't care. It's too much. They don't know, and they don't want to know.
And that again is false.
False. Couldn't be further away from the truth. I mean, you know, sometimes I wish it were true, because I get calls from her at all hours. I get out of work at 5. I'm getting calls up to 8 o'clock. Ms. Martinez, can you please show me this? I even get FaceTime calls like, hey, can we do this problem together? Can I see this? I have kids coming with their homework with notes on them. Like, hey, we really tried this. We didn't get it. Just the other day, I had a community meeting in my school where I did a workshop for just math homework. and the room was full with parents who really wanted to learn these new techniques that we do, you know, Eureka, mind math.
I agree. And I've even had parents sit in my classroom talking about, look, when such and such, my child comes home, they already saying, I can't do it that way. Miss Fuller didn't teach me that way. So instead of them being very dismissive, they're like, all right, what are you doing?
Right.
Because I know how I learned it, how we learned it, and we all agree that now it is different. But just because it's different, it doesn't mean that parents aren't open to learning it. So they have actually sat in class to figure out this new math, as they call it, to figure out, oh, so that, and then they have their aha moments as well. So that, you really aren't just borrowing a one. Look at that.
Right.
You have
we
those
understand
moments.
that it's conceptualized.
That's it, because we learn procedures.
That's right. So parents aren't completely clueless, right? People aren't dumb. It's not that they don't want to know something. It's that we do have to understand that the way we do things now, education is ever evolving, just like medicine, just like science, right? We're constantly learning new techniques on how to better reach children and get kids to really conceptualize what we're doing. That's very different from the math you knew, that I knew, right? I used to count 100 million sticks in math, right? So we have to meet parents halfway. It's not that they don't know, they don't have the tools, they don't have the resources we do, and we can't just assume the worst. Get them in there, get them in class, help them out with what they need, because no parent wants to see their kid struggle, and no parent's going to be happy seeing that they can do more for their kid and choose not to.
We're all lifelong learners.
That's right. So myth debunk. Parents aren't clueless. They want to know, they want to learn,
and it's our job to help them. All right, myth number 3. You know what? Most of our parents, they actually don't care.
No, children are not their priority.
I mean, they don't come for parent-teacher conferences. We stay trying to call them.
Never return my calls.
I'm calling the local bodega. I'm like, this ain't even your number. Like, stop playing with me.
One time I called her mom. She answers the phone and goes, oh, she not available. I'm having to call you back. Lady, ain't this your cell phone number?
I know you. I know. This is you. Stop playing with me.
I'm not calling a landline.
So clearly, children are not the priority.
No.
They are busy doing other things that have nothing to do with what's going on. And
listen, when kids are in school, that's your problem. That's on your time. They're mine when they're at home. So you deal with your issue.
And that's because that's why I put them in before care and after care. Okay?
So I only have to see them sleep.
Bam. And on the weekends, if I'm lucky.
Right. Not true, guys. Children, of course, children are everyone's priority, from parents to teachers to other staff members in the school system. The only difference is that people maybe show that priority in different ways, right? We also cannot assume the worst again. We have to assume the best of these families. We don't know what's going on, what people are going through. A lot of times people are doing the best that they can with what they have, and we have to be able to open those lines of communications, meet them halfway, get to know these families, what they need, how can we best help them, so we can all come together and do what we want to do, which is make sure these kids meet their growth targets, become better human beings, and really become active members of the community around them.
And that's why those home visits are so important, because you figure out, one, the best way parents can communicate, because parents do have maybe possibly 1 and 2 jobs. A parent may work at night, and there's other ways that parents can show involvement. I have parents that work for the government, and I don't want to give all the tea away, but they definitely be making me some nice colored copies, honey. I appreciate you more than you know. There are times when I will get a couple of reams of paper, like, thank you for looking out. You have to be accommodating. Just because a parent can come between your little 9 to 12, whatever conferences you have, that doesn't mean that they can't come first thing in the morning or come in the evening, or you guys do a FaceTime conversation. Again, it does not mean that their children are not a priority. But at the same time, they have to pay that rent and put food on the table. And that's just the world that we live in. Or they might be a teacher themselves, in times conflict. So again, continuing to have those conversations so that parents know that what they're doing matters. Because if you don't make it so that you're available to them so that they can talk to you, they're not going to talk.
Right, that's right. And you know, I'll tell you something, Fuller, coming here, like I said, from the Dominican Republic, most of my family's didn't even speak Spanish. So I'm pretty sure that when teachers called my house and got my grandma, who was like the stay-at-home mom while my mom was working, she would always be like, no English, and hang up. Didn't matter who called. So it's not that, you know, and I'm the apple of my grandma's eye. It's not that my grandma didn't care about me. She's simply
like, I'm already telling you off the break. Don't waste your breath.
Bro, no
gonna be
English.
talking.
No English. Till this day, that's what my grandma knows how to say.
You better leave the message on the answer machine.
So we have to visit. If you visited my house, if you did a home visit at my house, God bless you, you would know. Hey, Martinez's grandma don't know no English.
There you go.
So she ain't coming in for parent conference.
Best way to translate.
That's right.
So children are their priority, and at the end of the day, I don't know a parent that does not want what's best for their child.
Right, they're bringing them to school, guys.
Hello.
So they obviously care about what's going on with them. We just gotta meet them halfway, collaborate, and make sure that we're seeing eye to eye. So
and again, assuming positive intent.
That's right.
All right, so now we're going to talk about myth number 4. Most of our parents, if not all of them, are definitely young.
Teen moms.
Definitely uneducated.
That's right.
If they graduated from high school, they're lucky. And they've just been living in the same neighborhoods the whole time. So it's just generation after generation of just repeating the same stuff.
That's right. Babies raising babies.
That's it. And then when they bring their child to the school, they'll see Miss Williams, who taught them when they were in 2nd grade. And you're like, oh my God, you get to teach my son Miss Little Johnny.
That's right. I keep walking across the streets of your school again.
That's it. And then the teacher thinks it's time for me to quit. Because I've definitely been in this neighborhood too long.
That's right. And again, false. There's parents from all walks of life, all sides of the spectrum. There's people that make different life choices. And I cannot say that there's a pattern of parents who are really young, who are teenagers, who don't know what they're doing, you know, who are just looking to shuffle that kid in there. That's not true. And I think, again, we watch a lot of movies. There's a lot of media out there. Again, in social media, the only thing that ever gets highlighted is the bad stuff.
Oh, yes.
The sensational thing.
Yes.
What's salacious? What's going to get the most views, the most likes? And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be some little girl who had a child that might be a little bit too young doing something crazy for the gram. That's not true, and that's not the face of every single parent.
No. And even the young parents, they're the ones that are so open and receptive to learning. They come to all the meetings. They're willing to tell you all their business. Like, they have no cut cards. Like, look, I messed up, but I want to make sure that little Amaya is straight. I'm not trying to repeat those same mistakes. Like, they are so ready to make sure that their child is the best.
Right. And, you know, they're easy to work with because they're the closer to that generation that we're working with, too. So they're in on the know. They know what kids are doing. They know what's popping. They know what's, like, the most popular thing. So it's easy to get them invested.
Chaperones.
Yep.
Ready.
That's right. So, again, that's not a common thing. And we should not categorize all parents or stereotype.
Stop.
And then also use that in a negative way, right? If you have young parents, that doesn't mean they care less. That doesn't mean they're going to be less involved or that they know less. You know, just take people for who they are and meet them halfway so you can all reach the same goal that you have. All right, our last and final myth for today is parents just want the easy way out. They're looking for the next handout. They're going from the welfare line to your recess line.
That sounds about right. Never have school
supplies. They don't have a pencil. They don't have erasers. Ms. Martinez, I didn't do the measurement homework because we don't have a ruler. And my mom said she wasn't going to Dollar Tree to buy one.
There you go.
Okay? They never have book bags. They don't even feed kids before coming to school. They're just looking for you to take on that burden and do everything for that kid.
The easy way out.
The schools have the responsibility.
And then on top of that, they make excuses for their children.
That's right.
Well, if maybe you would just leave my child alone, they wouldn't throw something at you.
That's right.
Like, leave him alone. If he ain't ready to work, then let him have a moment to himself.
That's right.
Like,
they're
stop it.
Looking always for the easiest way out. Always taking the responsibility off themselves. Never wants to want to be held accountable. And you know what? That's simply just not true.
That is not true.
A lot of times, like I said before, we said in previous videos, we cannot assume the worst.
Exactly.
We cannot just think like, oh my God, this kid came in without a backpack. How like irresponsible. This person just wants everybody else to do something for their kid. You don't know what that family's going through. You don't know if this is also the 10th backpack that this kid hasn't bought. You know, my daughter, when she was 4, I think I bought her about like 5 backpacks in the school year. She either broke them, lost them, traded them for some dumb stuff at school, right? It didn't mean that I didn't care about my kid or I was looking for someone else to provide. That's just what happened with my child, right? So I think a lot of times, assuming the best. Also, like we said, communication is key. Reaching out to parents, understanding why these things are happening, and figuring out how to better assist them.
Exactly. Because if you do notice that a child something's going on or they don't have this, it's okay to reach out to a parent, or even the kids will tell you their business.
Right. Oh, they'll tell you.
They will let you know what the situation is. And then from there, you can make the best decision possible. If it is maybe going out and getting them a new book bag, or touching base with the parent and be like, hey, I know Johnny didn't have his book bag, just checking in to make sure he hasn't brought his homework in a couple of days. Is there anything I could do to help? And a lot of times they might be like, what do you mean? Like, look inside the book bag. Or we were at the kitchen table. I don't know how many times we did that homework. I don't know where that homework is. And the next thing you know, somewhere balled up at the bottom is the homework. So again, children at that time, they need to learn responsibility. But you have to continue to have that communication with parents to let them know what's going on, so that whatever's being reinforced at school is being reinforced at home.
And you can also learn about what each situation is, because each situation I've learned is different, right? Yeah. Whenever I assume something, I have to eat my words and retrace my steps and issue apology, right? And then also, you know, no one wants to see their kids fail, like we said, right? People are doing their best with what they have. And I think as educators in urban cities, in, you know, quote unquote underprivileged zones or high need areas, you hear all these code words, right? You also need to accept you're going into situations that have generational poverty, right? People who've been affected by a lot of laws that have been designed to keep them down and keep them out of, you know, reaching the next level of advancement with their wealth.
Yeah.
So also know, coming in with that mindset that you might see some things and you might be in situations that, like, if you don't agree with, or that you're like, oh my God, how could these people happen, or what caused this? Like, there's a lot of history and there's a lot of things going on for things to be the way that they are today. So appreciate that, educate yourself, and assume the best at all times.
And don't shy away from those conversations, because we're not saying those conversations are easy. They're not.
Right.
It can be a tough, sticky situation, because at the end of the day, you don't want to offend somebody, but you need to figure out a way, the best way to help that child. And it will take having those conversations. And in the beginning, let's not pretend. You might get cursed out. I ain't gonna look.
You might get cursed out.
You might.
No, but you won't get cursed out.
I promise you, that parent is going to turn around, because your best advocate is going to be the child. When that child keeps going back home talking about Miss Martinez, she did this, Miss Martinez did that, Miss Martinez said this, it's like all of a sudden the parent realizes, like, oh shit, you really do have my child.
This person's in my corner.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, all that pride and all that, because again, you have that defense up. So depending on how you come and approaching that parent, automatically they got their guard up. So you definitely have to take all those things into consideration, and don't shy away from those conversations, because you really will have a breakthrough.
That's right. And again, feeding into these myths, thinking negatively about people that you haven't met or haven't gotten to know yet, will only be a larger boulder between your goals that you have for your students. And that's not what you're in this for. So again, hope we debunk some myths about parents in the urban setting.
Yes, indeed.
I hope you feel clearer about some of the things and gossip that you hear around, and, you know, maybe feel empowered to apply for that school, apply for that program. If you're already in a different school, know that, you know, you have the tools and resources to reach out, have stronger lines of communication, and really get to know people that you're working for.
And it's okay if you've had a moment where you really felt that way. We have all been there.
Yes.
But then you also have to check yourself and be like, all right, I'm in my feelings right now.
Right.
Let me take a couple of steps back. Let me look at this from a very different angle. Let me be more objective and figure out the best way to move forward. So it is okay if you have felt that way.
That's
Please,
right. We're
not judging.
We're not.
Because we have felt that way.
I've been there. I have to call people out. People called me out, you know, but at the end of the day, it's for the kids, and we're going to get way further if we're all rowing in the same direction.
Yes. So please share any additional myths that you have about parents. We would love to hear them.
And debunk them.
Yes. So, again, like, share, comment.
Subscribe below if you haven't done so already.
Thank you. And until next time.